In an estate planning context, sometimes creating a comprehensive plan is a bit challenging when both the spouses, if we're dealing with a married couple, when both spouses are not on board. I've seen many instances, just like in your business, where in many cases it's the woman who is reaching out initially. That has been my experience. A lot of times it's the wife who is reaching out because she has seen one of my many webinars or attended, something I did in person. But in some cases, not all, there can be some resistance on behalf of the other spouse. Now, granted, there can be any number of reasons, but one of those is, would you agree, a bit of resentment that she took the lead, and he kind of feels like, wait a minute, she actually went ahead and did it. She actually went ahead and made an appointment with an attorney, and she talked to an attorney, and did I not, and I somehow feel inadequate because it should have been me.
Right.
What can you speak to that dynamic?
That's interesting you say that, actually.
I think I think they may want to portray it as resentment, but I think it's probably more of an embarrassment. Man, I really should have done this. And she did it. It should have been me, like you said. But I think to make it not seem like they're embarrassed, they might portray it as resentment, which still too is not really that great. But I think it might be, just to cover up the fact that they should have done something and they know that they should have initiated it, but they didn't.
I actually would agree with that. I would agree with that. They're often, and I can only speak for men, often what looks like on the outside as arrogance or as me pushing back or resentment in this case often masks some level of insecurity. So should I have been the person that did that? Or how come I don't feel as engaged as she is in this process? Or, there's a lot of things that could play out that way. But I see that too with us as well, because you'll have especially in some of our initial sessions, you'll see the couple is there, the wife is attempting to be engaged, the guy's just like, he's just there with his hands crossed, looking like, okay, what is this really going to be about? And sometimes that is, and I've noticed, and I don't know if it's the same with you with estate planning, but I've noticed in our space, often as we kind of peel back the layers, that is some level of insecurity. I don't know what this process is going to be like. I don't want to really I don't want to get played in the process, and some of those kinds of things that take place. So I would say there is some level of what may appear to be resentment that may be some level of insecurity for whatever reason.
And to follow up on that question, would you agree that, I don't want to call it conflict, but tension that is unresolved, right? That's not, the light isn't shed on it. If it's not, that can certainly impact, not the legal and financial decisions that they need to make as a couple, as a family. Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
100%. Because if you're holding on to resentment because of whatever reason, but then you're still trying to move forward with estate planning or any other thing in your relationship, if you're holding on to resentment, it's going to show up in the way you speak, in the way that you present yourself, in your body language. And then your spouse is going to see that and be like, Mom, what's wrong with you? Why are you acting this way? Why are you talking like that? And you're never going to get to fix whatever or work on the estate planning or whatever else it is that you're trying to work on in your relationship, because you're holding on to the resentment and your spouse is focusing on your resentment and not the project at
Mhm.
hand. So
Yeah.
it definitely is going to impact trying to do anything.
I agree with that. Your approach to conflict is going to be the formula that you plug everything else into.
Yeah.
And you may not know you're doing that on you may not think you're doing that, but if you think about, like, anybody who's listening, if you think about and are really honest with yourself about how you deal with conflict,
Mm-hmm.
that is how you deal with everything else.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
So how you communicate in conflict, how you process in conflict, the assumptions or the conclusions that you come to, or the things that you do without any level of clarification or negotiation or explanation, you apply that to everything else. And so if you're unable to resolve whatever the other conflict is, you're going to come to the estate planning table. You're going to come to the marriage coaching, relationship coaching table with that same formula. And then there's some, there's some unpacking that has to take place to understand what the root cause of that is and then deal with that,
Right.
so that now you can begin to craft new formula, new strategy that now allows your estate planning process to go a little bit smoother and gives you and opens your mind now to hear what you need to hear and do what you need to do.
Thank you so much. I feel that I just got a little bit of therapy that I can use for my own, on my business and my clients. So thank you.